Time. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday and our last week talking through some do's and don'ts that hopefully build and accumulate for you to have a very good summer. We've gone through those physical needs and gone through the mental needs, emotional needs. Hopefully, you all had some playful times last week, not just at the gym playing a new game. But in terms of other things you're able to do. So this week wraps it up in terms of relational do's and don'ts, and really trying to think when it came down to that about with people or being alone and how to navigate both and finding a balance for both. Really, the two words that we can keep coming back to, the first is solitude and finding out an opportunity. It's not just being alone, but being in a place where there's respite, there's restoration, where there's some peace that comes with that. And on the other side of that scale, this idea of togetherness. We use the word community around here a lot. Togetherness really represents this connectedness with others, and there is a restoration that comes from that as well. We're not just addressing kind of introversion and extroversion. I think there should be a balance of both for people to have that experience in their routine as they go through their week. So again, solitude. There's some exercises so you can make sure you've got an opportunity for that in your schedule to really seek out what that is, and to be able to identify that when it goes forward. Writing that you should have three answers to that aspect of solitude. Knowing when you will do it, where you will do it, and what you will do during that time. When you can answer those three questions, it becomes like this: in case of emergency, go do this, and it's a recipe that will work for you. It likely is different for you than it is for everybody else. Just as unique as you are, so might be your choices for solitude. The other side of togetherness, though, really comes off of this idea that I think we all need some connectedness with others and togetherness. The reality is somebody will ruin that idea with you. There is someone who will need lots of grace and forgiveness in your life as they are in your circle, support network or extended family or just other people. And the risk is those people ruin it for the rest of us, right? They wear you out. They say something, and you're like, that's it, I'm done with people. And you retreat and withdraw, and it's not respite you're seeking. It's just kind of being by yourself, stirring in those negative emotions that we talked about last week. So this is where that connection comes in. That I don't want you to give someone who's negative in your circle so much power that they can drive you away from all the other togetherness that you want to seek. So it is this encouragement, the exercise this week, really to think of that list of people that you just have to have an abundance of grace and forgiveness for, because you can't choose to exclude them necessarily out of your life or world, but you just need to be able to protect yourself from them and not give them, again, the power to drive you away from the desire for togetherness around you. So some important things to think about. Again, solitude is not just about being alone, but there's an outcome of that. And know your recipe, the place, the time, and the activity you're going to do to experience that. And I think it will go well. So as I was thinking about solitude, and there's some positive some positive outcomes of that, I just came across some kind of records or lengths of time people spent alone. Now, I don't think these are necessarily restful and full of peace, but here are some examples of some, let's call it world records of being alone, not necessarily solitude. The first example, there's just a handful here, the longest time in a cave. Oh my God. All right, spent alone. A Spanish athlete, Beatrice Flamini, holds the voluntary record for isolation, spending 500 days all alone in a 70-foot deep cave near Grenada. It was done out of some scientific research on circadian rhythms and time perceptions. So for scientific, she spent 500 days alone in a 70-foot cave all by herself, but probably monitored in some way, or checking in on some things just to see how she did. So you can track that down online and see, she's still alive and still sane, all those things. Second one, distance from humanity. The command module pilot Alfred Worden holds the Guinness Book World Record for the greatest distance from any other living human. This was during the Apollo 15 mission in 1971. He was 2,235 miles away from his crewmates while he orbited the moon on the far side of it by himself. So that is interesting, especially with the Artemis program just going back around that side of the moon. But there were 4 individuals that far away from anybody else. But this was one person, as he was all alone that far away. Back on the Earth, Richard Parks in 2020 is known for skiing more miles, 2,299 in Antarctica, solo, unassisted, and unsupported. He did that all himself, skiing by himself across Antarctica for over 2,200 miles. And if none of those sound possible for you, here's one more you could try and do, counting aloud. Jeremy Harper holds the record for the highest number counted aloud, doing so continuously in complete isolation for 89 days in 2007 when he reached 1 million. So those are some ideas if you're looking for some things to do that are not about solitude, because those seem very stressful and very, very difficult. But 89 days to count to 1 million. Counting aloud. Feel free to try and beat his record. Anyone? Okay. Brings us to our questions. So you're just trying to think about it. How long do you think you could be? How long do you think you could go around people constantly before you need a break?
Never. 8 hours, half a day.
These numbers are very automatic, and I heard half a day, 8 hours, 4 hours. One work day, right? It's a fun question just to think about what is it? Like, how do you recover from that idea? Again, not introversion, extroversion. Being around people that are fun, you can be there longer. Being around people that are challenging, it's going to be shorter. What are you doing with those people? But in reality, that is a good question where you just have to think about that in a serious kind of way, about how long do you need to go around before you just sense that need for solitude rising. And that's why that recipe is important. Where will you go? What will you do? And how long do you need to be there to reset and feel ready to go to kind of be back around people again, whether that's family, work, friends, something else. The follow-up question is related to that. What do you think your actual time limit for solitude would be? I mean, really think about that before you'd be like, I need someone. I want to, be around someone. I want to have that connectedness or togetherness. How long do you think you could actually be alone? And have you ever gotten close to it? You ever gotten close to it? A week by yourself, no contact with other people? 2 weeks? A month?
Is that not going to the gym? Can you go to the gym?
No, this is totally alone. This is your solitude. You're like, I'm going hiking. I'm going out west. I'm going to go be by myself. I'm not going to be around any people. Or I'm going to go live at that cabin by myself and not see anyone. How long would it be? A week? 2 weeks? A month? And has anyone gotten close to that? It's the longest you've been by yourself, away from people.
Probably close to that. I COVID by myself for a week.
Okay. It's interesting. Longest I've heard, just professionally, is about 35 days. Someone just decided to be able to go up north, kind of just spend time by themselves and not be around anyone. And there's a cabin where they could do that without not needing anybody whatsoever. Zero contact with people. Zero contact with people. Yeah. So, things to think about, right? Because it's not. I'm not encouraging people to try and see how long they can go, but it's this illustration of knowing yourself. How much people contact you need for that connectedness and togetherness, and how much time do you need alone in order to feel recovered? Because here's the final comments about that and why. I think that solitude leads to times of reflection where you can be grounded and have clarity about what direction are you in, what passion do you have, and are you getting there. Just emotional awareness, mental clarity, physical restoration, all of those come out of solitude, and that's why it is so important to be able to take. And it's time alone, but it's a restorative nature of it, and that's why you have to be so intentional about it. Being by yourself but having a lot of noise, being by yourself and maybe having people around, there's a difference between blending in and being alone and having solitude. That's what I want people to be able to discover. The other side of that is kind of know your magic number of how many people you can be around and not lose energy. Can you tolerate 2, 3, 4 people? Is it one? When you can know what that number is, then it's much more sustainable to guard your energy level. All these things we've been talking about this month is so you have the energy to do what you need to do and to have fun. So when you know what that number is, then it's much easier to stay in that connectedness world and step out into solitude when you need it. And then finally, realizing that every person, whether you feel introverted or extroverted, every person needs to have solitude and togetherness in their weekly schedule. That is my sincere belief in coming back to it. Because if we spend too much time by ourselves, it's easy to drift mentally, emotionally, not have some feedback for ourselves to see how we're doing. And certainly we would know that if we're around people all the time, it can become distracting and there's lots of noise in our head and everything else. So everyone needs to find out what is that ratio of solitude time versus groups of people and where it comes in. Because we will get energy from either end of the spectrum. We'll get energy from people and laughter and playfulness, all that stuff we talked about last week. But we can also get energy from the other end about a chance to be reflective and regain our direction. So a good week to talk about these two of solitude and togetherness and to find out how it goes. I think it's a good cap on top of everything else we've talked about all month, right? Beginning with those pitfalls and priorities, to know yourself that much and to realize you don't want to tolerate something that's going to be negative and grow within you to lead to some unhealthiness, and then working our way through positive and negative thinking. And last week, just the idea of don't let things consume you, instead pursue playfulness, and finishing with this idea of know your solitude, the time, the place, and the activity, and know the amount of people you need to be around to be energized, to be ready to go. Following through on all these do's and don'ts, I'm quite convinced, and hopefully you are, that there will be an opportunity to have July and August and even into that beautiful September weather be very, very fulfilling and a good stretch as we head into the final quarter of the year. So good to see everybody. Have a good week, and be thinking of those recipes for yourself of solitude so you have that peace when you need it on demand. All right. Thank you.